When I look back, it feels like everything in my life, every class or job, every design or brushstroke, every challenge, was guiding me toward who I am and what I'm doing right now. At the time, of course, I didn't see it, but I can see it now. That's the beauty of hindsight and being in the golden years of your life. I began my creative journey as a graphic designer, and after graduating from the Colorado Institute of Art in 1986, I was hired at WJRT, a television station, by a man who deeply believed in synchronicity. The day before my resume landed on his desk, he learned he needed a triple bypass surgery, and somehow he felt my timing meant something. When I started the job, he handed me a book by Ruth Montgomery. She was a White House reporter who turned her curiosity towards spirituality side of life. He told me, when you finish this one, bring it back and I'll give you another. I didn't know it yet, but this act would be the opening to a much wider world for me. After his surgery, he introduced me to others that shared spiritual interest. Their conversations fascinated me because I'd always questioned what I'd been told in Sunday school. Those places where belief and truth didn't quite align inside of me, and now life was quietly giving me permission to start asking deeper questions. Time went on, I got married, I had children, and I built a life filled with art and ordinary moments. When we eventually divorced, I found myself trying to make a living with my creativity, painting, freelancing as a graphic designer, taking part-time jobs to get by. I was teaching acrylic painting by then, something I started when the children were young. I loved helping others find confidence in color mixing and brushwork. My students would often hear me say, "Be brave, it's just paint." But it wasn't just about painting. It was about life. Still, I was struggling, pushing, chasing the dream of being a full-time artist. But every door seemed too hard to crack open. One day, exhausted, I simply surrendered. And I kind of whispered to myself, I give up. Maybe this isn't for me. And in that surrender, everything changed. A weight lifted, and I felt the energy actually leave my body. Later, I said something out loud that would become like a personal vow. I kind of yelled out loud when I was home alone. I just want to earn a living with a paintbrush in my hand. Those words carried some power because within weeks, new possibilities appeared. A friend came to stay with me, and before long, we were traveling the country together, attending mind, body, spirit expos and holistic fairs. It was a brand new world for me. She knew I could do psychometry readings, which is a reading of energy of a person, place, or thing. And she encouraged me to offer them at these fairs. To my surprise, it worked beautifully. I could feel people's excitement, their amazement, the awe at the messages that they were receiving. And I got an email once that confirmed that what I had said became the reality of this individual, and she was beyond ecstatic about the results. One day, I brought along my art wall to make my space feel more private and cozy. I had a couple paintings hanging on that wall, and late in the afternoon, a young man stopped by and asked if I could sketch his energy, and I kind of laughed. And I said, I don't know. I've never tried that before, but if you're willing to be my guinea pig, we can find out together. And he agreed, and when I finished, I was stunned. The drawing captured something living, vibrating, and gave me immense insight into this man. That moment was the birth of what would later become personal energy portraits. When I returned home that day, I posted online asking for volunteers to come to my studio to experiment. The only promise I made was that they would leave with a piece of art. 6 people came, and each portrait was more extraordinary than the last. And that was the beginning of a whole brand new chapter in my life, one guided by the universe and full of color and energy and pure connection to the field of divine intelligence. Over the years, I came to understand that when I tune into someone's energy, images, colors, and even small vision flashes appear in my mind's eye. And I simply translate that onto the canvas or paper so that others can see it too. I'll often say that the color is the language of the soul, and I believe we all have the capacity to tap into that kind of communication. A couple years ago, I felt called to share this experience beyond just a one-on-one session like these portraits are. I loved connecting with my clients, and I still do. But I kept wondering, how can I help more people at one time? And one day, after a yoga session, laying quietly on the mat, just totally relaxed, that same question surfaced again. And in that moment, I heard the answer: teach what you've learned. So I began teaching spiritual concepts to groups, ideas about who we are and what we're capable of, and how to be in the world in a new way. Eventually, I combined that knowledge with my years of experience in art and marketing, helping other artists navigate both that spiritual side and the practical side of their creative paths, which evolved into my Patreon community, which is a place where I can share my insights and empower others, teach painting, and coach others to become more of what they are each and every new day. Looking back, I can see how it all connects. The jobs I worked, the teaching experiences, the paintings I've created, and the experiments that became something more. None of it was random. It was guided, as if life itself was holding the reins all along, painting a bigger picture I couldn't yet see. If there's one message, one hope others take from my journey, it's this: never ignore those gentle nudges, the quiet invitations that whisper to you to be brave. Because sometimes what feels like letting go is really a door opening. It's an invitation to see the story of your own soul through color, courage, and faith. If this story resonates with you, I'd love to share more insights about art, energy, and creative growth. You can find me on Patreon at Creative Spirit Studios or at TonyaHenderson.com, where I continue helping artists and seekers express their own light through color and connection.